Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys. We're your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Anthony Sinandris.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it is. You haven't done a show with us in months. No, Tristan, that's a really good Anthony voice.
I assure you that.
Are you doing a Tristan voice, doing an Anthony voice? Come on.
This is not voiceception. It's really me. I'm back, motherfuckers.
I love how that's your quote on your first day back. I'm back, motherfuckers. That's your quote. That's the name of this episode. Just Anthony. I'm back, motherfuckers.
Pretty much. It's like a tagline.
Oh, my God. So, all right. So we have you here. We're doing the Killing Joke. We should be getting back to some of our other podcasts that we started with you soon enough in some form or another, even if it turns into a season, just an entire rest of the season for Arrow. Right?
Yeah.
But we did the first 3 episodes, and then we realized, let's just wait. Right?
I mean,
so
season 3 is not really, it's not even really that noteworthy, season 3, if we're being honest. If I'm being honest, anyway.
I mean, we can talk about that another time, but right now we're talking about the Killing Joke. Not the aspect of the Killing Joke becoming an animated film, though we do want to mention that a bit later during the show. Just generally the book itself. Right?
Yeah.
So, I really like the Killing Joke.
As do I.
Yeah, right? Good.
I mean,
show.
One thing I will say, though, one thing I will say, and I might catch some heat for this, but I did find it a bit overrated. Now, hear me out. The reason I say that is because I didn't read this book until pretty late into my comic collecting career. So I started collecting back in, maybe hardcore collecting anyway, in 2010, 2009, somewhere around there. Before that, I would just get, random things based on the covers and all that. And then when I started getting really into it, everyone was like, oh, you should read The Killing Joke. You should read The Killing Joke. I'm like, I'll pick it up. And then eventually I did pick it up, and I'm expecting something unbelievable. And while it was a really great Joker Batman story, it wasn't as big and grandiose as I thought it was going to be. Not that it has to be, but it's just I felt I was expecting more than what I got. Nothing bad against the story. It's just it didn't seem as big as I thought it was going to.
It's funny. I disagree because of some of the stuff that happened in it. It's weird. I feel like it's huge. But again, you know how I feel about the Wolverine story.
Yeah.
The whole Japan, you know how I feel about that. So it's kind of funny. No, it's really funny because, I can't tell you completely, you're wrong, you're terrible, because, I know I'll get huge heat for talking about, I don't know if I was a big fan of Wolverine in Japan back in the day.
Dude, I'll get amputated.
I'll
get a limb cut off. You'll just die.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, I'm not saying it was terrible, Wolverine in Japan, but, you know how I feel about it, right?
Yeah.
It felt like fan subs, the comic book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, let me, what am I saying? Not fan subs, that's very wrong of me. What I consider bad fan subs, with, random Japanese thrown in. Right? Not even Logan-san, where it would just be Logan-san, this food is oishi. And it's but you're speaking in English for most of that. Why would you? But anyway, so Killing Joke, I really do enjoy it. I enjoy it in the sense that, I enjoy the depth that they're able to give this Joker character who, in other words, he's not just a killer. And I think that's what I enjoy because, he's a pretty, really fucked up person.
Yeah.
Right? So his actions should not be emulated. He should not be revered and praised. However, there is another side to him where he is, he does have a tragic backstory. So I enjoy the idea of tragic backstory, but he still does not excuse what he's done and what he's currently doing.
Absolutely.
I like that because the idea that, hey, he's gone through a lot of stuff, but you can't really agree with him because if you are, then it's I agree with everything Joker's done so far, to be fair. all right, so you just outed yourself as a rapist. That's totally cool. Not cool that you're a rapist, but I mean, definitely go to your local police and say that, right?
Might as well lock you up in Arkham, too, alongside him.
Basically, yeah. This guy really has a point with all the shit that he's been doing. No, he doesn't. Maybe his words may have meaning, and I'd understand if someone said, I connect with him via what he said, but his actions are definitely not excusable at all.
Not at all.
I think that's pretty clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have to make that clear. I think that's just pretty clear, even
I
though...
hope we don't have to.
I would really hope we don't have to. Someone's out there like, you're really short. Yeah, we're pretty fucking short. So, speaking about this comic, though, as an act, the book itself, so it came out in 1988, for some of you thinking, Killing Joke, it came out it came out a while ago. 1988. We're currently live in 2015. Dear God.
Exactly.
Right?
Dear
God,
you could even also say this inspired Tim Burton for the 1989 Batman movie, so that's how far back we're going with this.
Not even you can say. It's confirmed that Burton was actually looking at this when filming the movie. Mm-hmm. This was among the comics that he had.
Even if you get the graphic novel, like the newer version of the graphic novel, his stamp of approval is right on the top. It's quote
yes,
Tim Burton.
Actually.
I love The Killing Joke. It's my favorite. It's the first comic I've ever loved.
Yeah, because, you can definitely see that style, this style of a bit. It's funny. I consider it a grittier Batman and a not gritty Joker necessarily, because Nicholson Joker was not anything like this Joker, I would argue. But because I think Nicholson Joker was a bit mixed with 1966 Batman, but still given a kind of edge to it where it's just I'll act a bit like 1966 Joker, but I can still kill you, and it'll be frivolous because I'm making a joke, right? Mm-hmm. But anywho, so I like the idea of a grittier Batman in this way, without being too much, without it being too much of just right? Just I feel like I'm not a big fan of when it gets to that point where it's just. So I liked what I saw here. Of course, we all know that it was written by Barney the Dinosaur writer Alan Moore. Mm-hmm. Right? Just childhood, just writes all the nicest children's shows out there. Barney the Dinosaur, Thomas the Tank Engine. The man has done a lot for children's television, and also Matt Marrero is lying to you. I want to make that very clear.
Wait a minute, you mean there's no such thing as pre-K Watchmen?
There will be soon. I don't. I don't know how well the newest Watchmen stuff did, comic-wise. I don't sales-wise, but if it did well enough, you bet your ass you're gonna get a pre-K, Tiny Titans, New Batman, Little Gotham version of Watchmen.
The world will look up and say, "Share your pudding," and I'll whisper, "No."
I haven't seen Watchmen.
Well, that joke just fell really flat.
It's okay. It's
so we're going to move on to the Killing Joke again.
What I love is that I want this episode to get us, or me personally, the most flack ever. It's just hasn't seen or read Watchmen, right? Which that's on me actually. I take complete, I understand that. Wolverine. Not a big fan of Wolverine in Japan. What will I say next? Oh, God. But seriously, Alan Moore, though, a very interesting fellow. I'll say that much.
That's one way to put it.
Very interesting fellow. It's interesting because he reminds me of, I can't remember the name of the director, so I feel bad about this, but I still want to reference it. I think you might know about this. He did about 13 episodes of Tom and Jerry back in the day. And pre-Tom and Jerry, he said, this does end a bit differently, but pre-Tom and Jerry, he was I hate Tom and Jerry, would never do it, it's stupid. Mm-hmm. Gets hired to do it, does it, and everyone's like, man, these Tom and Jerry episodes sucked. Now, different in the end, because Killing Joke is really good. Yeah. But you can kind of tell that there's a bit of contempt for these characters.
Oh, definitely.
you can kind of tell that Moore was just, so I'm going to make a Joker into this. So to be fair, I can't see Joker not being this, which is a weird thing, where it's like, it's a stretch, I think, for people at the time, I guess, for Joker, but I can understand why what the Joker's been going through would lead him to this. And then, of course, Batman being another side of the same coin in a way, where it's like, hey, don't praise these heroes. You know, there are no heroes. Which I think is I think that's how Moore lives his life. There are no heroes.
That's a fair way to go.
Yeah, at least in the super sense. Like, I'm sure he doesn't sit there and feel like, like, police officers, firefighters, like, I don't think he sits there and thinks, like, oh, whatever. But, like, when it comes to actual, like, superheroes, people in costumes, not not freaking, like, work, whatever, really, like, actual, like, Batman, Joker, people like that. She's like, nah, whatever, that's children's shit.
Yeah, I mean, even, like, when you read Watchmen, you'll really see how this is in effect. The Watchmen was actually going to be the Justice League.
Yeah,
like,
that
pretty much every... Yeah, so you know the whole story about that. He was going to show every flaw in every hero. So he really just can't stand comic book characters.
Yes, and I don't want to say that's bad. I don't want to be like, oh my God, why before this my villains were so perfect and nice. Like, no, this is good to do for bad guys, I think, especially for Batman too. It feels weird to me to do this for Superman, to be fair.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like there's certain characters that definitely, like Spider-Man 2 would feel weird.
Incredibly.
Yeah. So
I would love
having this happen.
Daredevil, though.
Yes, Daredevil, again, there's certain heroes, doesn't matter what universe you're looking at, certain heroes you can go, or villains, you can go, you know what, yeah, they need this treatment. So not really Dr. Light, necessarily. Yeah, I know. But yeah, Moore definitely enjoys the dark, he enjoys the different, I don't think he enjoys this, but he definitely puts a lot of sexual assault themes into things he's written.
Oh, definitely. This, Watchmen, even Swamp Thing.
Even some of his own personal stuff that he's done that's not, related to, like, just general comic books, where it's like, hey, like, this happens here, and then this is here, and it's like, oh, okay. It is a big thing. It's not like it shouldn't be referenced in things. It is just it's prevalent in a lot of his work, and it's prevalent here. Done in a way where, I can understand how some people are offended by it completely, but as we'll mention later in the show, if Batman did this, I think that's when we all have to be up in arms, because Batman is looked at as a character we should emulate.
Exactly. And
who is the hero, right? Even though he has this side shown by Moore and shown by a lot of others, with like, hey, it's and it's kind of funny, but it's accurate. Batman, I'll never kill him. Right, you'll never kill a person, but you will definitely paralyze them. Right? Just so this fault won't kill you.
Like, I never
all right,
killed
but
him.
what will it do to him? Because you're dropping someone from a building.
Exactly. You only broke his legs, his spine, but he's still breathing, so you're fine. So your justice, your code is kept intact. It's like, that's pretty bad. That's weird. It's not normal, quote unquote. It's an issue based on what he's been through in his past. So I'm happy that Moore picked up on that, because maybe he just sat there for a while and thought, so we're all just fine with the guy in the bat suit going around. Like, I like that, because he's like, so Batman's parents died, and that's a trauma, and that trauma caused him to be Batman, and everyone's cool with this. No one sat there and thought, that guy's a little screwed up. Hell, you have Robin at his side, which I'm really surprised that Moore didn't write in Robin. I feel like he wanted to, but someone was like, stop, don't. Like, someone at DC. I feel like DC shot down a lot of his ideas. Yeah, just like, listen, Moore, you gotta just stop, man.
Yeah, he's like, so how about we include Robin? And then Robin mentions how Batman stopped.
But I didn't even think you don't have to finish.
Yeah. So how about in that scene where Joker takes those pictures, maybe Joker could stop. Like, I felt like there was a lot of unfinished sentences.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of unfinished sentences.
I think that honestly was my main problem. It's just like certain areas I felt something was just missing from it.
What was missing exactly?
That's the thing. Like, I can't pinpoint it. It's just when I get to certain areas of the book, I kind of feel like there was more room to explore, but maybe what he wanted to do wasn't really what DC wanted to be in the book. And I'm going through the graphic novel now, trying to find the sections exactly, but...
Okay, so I kind of see what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that, because I was a little scared and nervous, because usually we make jokes, but I was being very, like, I was really, really confused, because I talk about what happened with Joker, and you're like, yeah, I felt like something was missing, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then you, like, I know you might want to laugh, but you would be like, oh my god, like, I can't believe you thought that, but I was really scared for a second, because I'm like, what the fuck kind of transition is that? But I think, I do understand what you're trying to say. At some point, like, there is a chance that Moore's version would have been longer, maybe even like a series, if you will. Not a series, but it would have had a bit more in it. But, you know, based on the fact that, like, no more, you're only getting to do this much, you're only doing this much, things were cut out in a way that made it flow, but to you it feels like there could have been like in a movie with a director's cut.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, I can kind of see what you mean. To be fair, though, I do feel like because this was made to be out of continuity. In case anyone doesn't know, this book was not made to be in continuity. It was not made to. It was made to just be a random one-off, a bit like the book Joker and the book Luthor that were made by Brian Azzarello. They're meant as one-off.
If you really get down to it, it was literally Alan Moore had even said in like one of his rare interviews, this was meant to be the Batman and Joker's last confrontation ever. He kills Joker at the end of the book. That was supposed to be the end of the story between the two.
Yes, and it looks like it, because, I mean, Joker's laughing, and then he just doesn't anymore.
Exactly.
And to be fair, I mean, I understand them wanting to include certain parts of this into continuity because of how good it was, but that does not only raise a lot of complications, but, you know, it makes it a lot harder to kind of go on, I think, you know, because I'm not saying that, okay, you know, it's hard to say, I'm a fan of the Joker, let's say, right? Not me personally, but for someone to say that, when the Joker's done stuff like this, which is great because that's exactly what Moore was trying to detail, and that's why I agree with it, and I think it's great. But I put it more on DC because Moore could have said, yeah, he's dead. That's my interpretation, right? And then we could all sit there and go, oh, so then it's not the official one. This is basically an Elseworlds. Okay, it's cool, right? Let's have a nice day. And in the main universe, they could make him a bit darker if they wanted to. But then they end up incorporating Moore's version, you know, his interpretation, into the main canon. And the only thing that's funny about it is, in a weird way it's funny to me, is how Moore is so against, you know, superheroes, if you will, against, you know, certain aspects, but his book became incorporated with their universe. Yeah. It would be and I'm sorry if this happened and I didn't know. It would be as if Watchmen was actually tied into the Justice League somehow.
You're good. It didn't happen.
What?
It didn't happen, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But don't worry, 2020. But yeah, so it you know, that would probably be another thing where it's more, it's like, why? You know, because it's just, you know, he made this as in like, don't like him, don't like anything about these people. And now it's just, actually, it's a part of continuity. But that's why I think you didn't include certain characters, because I think maybe you're thinking about it where there's certain characters that really weren't introduced. You know? Where I mean, like, you look at, let's say, something like Joker or Luthor, and they were really set in their own section. Now, yes, Joker did have a lot of extra characters in it, you know, from their universe. But to be fair, you know, it was kind of Joker in the underworld. Here it's just a Batman-Joker story. So you're not going to have a lot of, you're going to have little cameos, right? Like, you know, like seeing Penguin or seeing Harvey Dent. but you're not going to get a huge amount of, stuff going on. Little nods, little stuff I liked. Like I loved Gordon looking at the scrapbook and going, what year was that again? When Joker met Batman, what year was that again? It was a nice little like tongue-in-cheek thing, but it also made sense. What was interesting, I think, is hear me out here, if Batman didn't say he was Bruce, like if the word Bruce wasn't thrown around a lot, would you have seen this being like a Nightwing, as in seeing that this was not Bruce Wayne? Because even though this wasn't an Elseworlds that was going along with the exact timeline, it was in the 80s, and a lot of these Elseworlds / timeline related titles that came out in the 80s, or early 90s, late mid 80s, were very much into the idea of everything that started in 1939, 1949, all that stuff that actually happened in that timeline, and it's been going on since then. So interestingly enough.
I don't know if I would say Dick Grayson Nightwing, but I think I would agree that if it was like all actually happening in those years, I couldn't see it being Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
No, I only bring it up because of the idea that, I don't see DC's Bruce, and this is why this is Moore's Bruce. I don't see DC's Bruce killing Joker. Even with everything that happened. I don't see it driving him to kill. But of course you look at the relationship between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon. And I see him killing the Joker over some shit like this.
I could see that, definitely.
That's what I mean. Where, like, if Bruce wasn't said enough, because it's funny, you might be like, well, he looks nothing like him. If you look at the way some artists draw the kids, you think that Batman was with all their moms. Every orphan that Batman ever picks up. The way that some artists draw them to resemble Bruce makes it seem as if it was like, I don't know about your dad. Like, no, like, seriously, like, it's true. You've seen it. Like, sometimes it's like, all right, they injected some, like, Bruce, to be in Bruce's care, to be his ward, you have to be injected with Bruce genes. Like, you have to be either that or you have to get immediate plastic surgery.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Every artist does it differently, but there are some where it's just like it's so spot on.
Hell, Bruce's adopted kids look more like Damien does, like to him sometimes. Have you ever noticed that? Like sometimes I'll see the way they'll draw Dick. Sometimes even Jason, but more Dick. Sometimes Jason, a little bit of Tim sometimes, right? And you look at three of them and you're like, wow, that's Bruce. And then Damien, and it's like, who are you? Oh, Bruce adopted you, right?
I mean, especially if you look at from the New 52 Court of Owls, the opening to issue 1 where they're all getting dressed for the party, they just all look so similar.
Thank you. So that's the one I was thinking of mostly. So that and also Batman Superman Generation is one where I think eventually everyone looks like, everyone in Bruce Wayne's line, like Bruce Wayne's genes are so strong that he starts to make people that he's adopted look like him. I don't know how that works. I don't know how.
It could be airborne for all we know.
Yeah, his genes are airborne. So that's how it works, apparently. No, but seriously, so talking about this book, so of course, it was Bruce Wayne in the book, right? It was not anyone else. It was Bruce Wayne. Bruce was said multiple times. No Nightwing or Robin to be found. Jason Todd is dead at this point. If we're going by actual continuity, Jason Todd's dead? Okay, so Jason Todd's dead. So Nightwing isn't around, so I guess that's why they didn't include him, I would assume. And no third Robin as of yet. Dear God. No third Robin yet. So it's just the idea of, a one-on-one Joker-Batman. Where is this going to go, right? And, of course, as you said, it's the final confrontation. And Joker dies. And to be fair, it's interesting that you would think that if they wanted to capitalize on this comic, they would just do an after. Like the way I would think of capitalizing on a comic that you shouldn't be, right? DC's, modus operandi, right? It's the way it works. Would be, get someone else to write the next one.
Yeah.
The Killing Joke 2, the joke's dead. Like, or some shit like that. Some really bad, like, fucking... What I love is it's not even like Batman, the joke's dead. It's Batman, the Killing Joke 2.
Don't kill the joke.
Dead. Yes, don't kill the joke. Joker's back from the life via the Lazarus pit. And
somehow that happened.
Right. And boy, is he just wacky. Well, Ra's al Ghul exists at this point.
Well, yeah, so, fair enough.
Yeah, so it exists. It's around. But, that's what I thought they would have done. So it's interesting that they were like, no, let's put it into continuity, sort of.
We'll put half of it into continuity.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, now it's in continuity half, I would argue, because I don't think he did the same thing that he did to Barbara in the New 52.
In the New 52, right? No. But actually in the new game, Arkham Knight, there is a few scenes that go back to the Killing Joke. And it's actually really well done, because there's actually one scene, without giving, the game's been out for a while now, but without giving too much spoiler, there's a scene where you're seeing one of Joker's memories. And it's the memory of when he paralyzes Barbara Gordon. And they do change quite a bit, like he's not there as like dressed as a tourist, he dressed as a guy with a box of candy. And she opens the door and she's like, "Is that you, Dad?" And he just opens and he throws a box of chocolates at her and he yells out, "Candy Graham," and he shoots her right in the spine. And then he shoots her one more time, and then they literally just show him standing there taking a bunch of pictures laughing. So it is brought. It's brought to the game, and they harp on that for a good, I'd say maybe 15, 20 minutes of the game. And it's a long game, but it's a significant scene, and it definitely sets up for something in the game, which I'm not going to spoil. But, yeah.
Right. Well, what I'll say is, but in comic book continuity, because I don't even know how they set it up. I want to ask you, maybe anyone who doesn't know, how did they set it up in comic book land? Like, did they basically just, one day out of nowhere, Barbara's fine, the next day she's paralyzed? What happened? Read The Killing Joke.
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't read that far back into Batman, but it's from my understanding.
I really want to know if that's how.
From my understanding, from my understanding, it wasn't see the Killing Joke. It was just they said after what happened with the Joker, this is what happened to you, or something along those lines. I have my computer out, so I might as well look at it.
All right, I just really want it to be the way I said it, where it's just one episode. Oh God, we've been doing so many shows recently. Oh God, no. One comic book issue, right? She's Batgirl. She's fine, or she's not Batgirl anymore. The next issue, what happened to you? Just from one issue to another, what happened? See The Killing Joke, Dick. See The Killing Joke.
If you have the stomach for it, just read The Killing Joke.
He's so confused. He's like, I don't understand. What do you mean? Read what? By the way, speaking of this book overall, I want to mention, so when the book was originally released, there was actually different art for it. So if you have the original version with the original art style, you are holding on to something that's worth a lot of money.
Definitely. It's a few areas, different art, but the main thing is actually the color. The newer versions have more revitalized colors. Yeah. It's more revitalized color, whereas the original, it was a bit more dark and gritty, but now they kind of brightened it up to show more detail.
Yes. But it was changed heavily, I would argue. Because I've read both versions. So to me, it's so much different. Personally, I feel like it shows you how some people might say, some people I think don't appreciate the idea of, colors and music and how they can really influence the scene, right? In this case, of course, there's no music involved. But seriously, put different soundtracks when you're watching certain films, and you'll notice that they really influence certain things more so. I mean, hell, some people might disagree, but you think of the fact that somehow that album from Pink Floyd magically syncs up with the Wizard of Oz, right? Not on purpose, but it does. So it's the idea of, like, music influences, same with color, right? So color, because when I look at the original Killing Joke, it seems so, the original, like, color. Well, it wasn't what everyone wanted, so it was, like, I believe, an accident, if you will. Like, it was some miscommunication from what I remember hearing. Right? Yeah. But the art was still a lot more surreal in the first one that I read, where when I actually was able to purchase it and now I have the newer updated art, it's great and I love it because what it does is it differentiates from the flashbacks and the original, you know, like what's going on in the present day by doing black and white, but there's color only on the red to, you know, make note of the Red Hood. Right? And then once the Joker, you know, he falls into, you know, the river that's polluted, which is always a great thing, by the way, and I always look, what the fuck are you talking about? The idea that you'll notice every once in a while that, you know, and I think Moore is very into the environment and, like, protecting the environment, I believe. Is he? Do we have any confirmation on Moore? I mean, no, I only bring it up because, like, I've actually noticed this with random Dragon Ball Z films, because he's done Dragon Ball Z podcasts as well. You can tell when certain, you know, people are into the environment and the way that they do their work, because you'll notice things where it's just like, oh yeah, a lot of collateral damage. Oh yeah, a lot of, like, you know, like destroying the earth via this, and this. You know, oh, this is polluting. This is not polluting. You know, oh, saving the earth, things, you know, forest fires, things like that. Animals from forest fires. So in this case, it's the idea that, oh man, the water is polluted because it's right near a chemical plant. In a way, to me, personally, maybe I'm just bringing, like, a weird English teacher vibe to it, like looking into more than, you know, what it really is. But to me, I look at it as you know, Moore doesn't like that. The idea that it's like, oh, the water's polluted. And it made this villain. Because, yes, he was on his way to being evil. But to be fair, I mean, if the heist worked, right, for all we know, he could have either, you know, he could have buried his wife and then lived a life, or he could have buried his wife and then killed himself. You know, we don't know where he would have gone, but he definitely wouldn't have, like, I don't really think that he would have turned this into such tragedy if not getting into that radiation, you know, into that really, not radiation, but into the, you know, the power plant and everything and all the, you know, pollution, and it really screwing with him. Like, I don't know if it really screwed with his brain more so, but even if it didn't, even if he was just fine brain-wise getting out of that, him looking into, you know, seeing his reflection, that is what made him crack.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying that it was an interesting thing because it kind of, I mean, maybe maybe if you ask more, he's like, no, it just made sense that it would be polluted. Like, but I assume, but I feel like, you know, Moore is definitely, like, anti, because I think, I haven't seen a lot of his interviews, but he definitely seems very mountain man, like, you know, not really enjoying, like, you know, the way industrialization has, like, hurt the environment. And he also looks a bit like a wizard.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that was actually a big inspiration for him when he wrote Swamp Thing. That's actually one of the reasons why he wrote Swamp Thing, because he really wanted to get in touch with, like, the nature side of it, all of that stuff. And also, I have an update regarding the Killing Joke Barbara Gordon thing. So apparently 1 year prior to the Killing Joke being released, DC had hired a writer named Barbara Kessel. She was hired specifically to write the Batgirl Special #1, which would have her retire the character of Batgirl to set up the events for the Killing Joke. So this was all planned at least a year in advance. Then once the book came out and Barbara Gordon was paralyzed, they did intend to leave her disabled, and the way it seems, they just kind of left it, and then she randomly appeared in Suicide Squad #23. Like, they were setting it up where she's basically become this expert with computers and hacking and everything, and she randomly offers her services to the Suicide Squad.
Okay, so then we should clarify that. Yes, the book was not meant to be in continuity in the initial stages.
Exactly.
Like, we should really clarify that then, because I'm sorry that, you know, we've kind of, like, I don't want us to lead anyone in thinking, oh, like, years down the line, they just thought, make it continuity. No. In the initial stages, it was meant to be as if it was Moore's take, right, that's why, it's not like, it was meant to be more take. Even if some might say, oh, yeah, but, I think the issues, I'm going to check right now, but I don't remember if the issues were actually Killing Joke separately or just issues of Batman. What were the issues? Were they Batman or were they just, like, Killing Joke 1, 2, 3, 4?
I'm fairly certain it was just the Killing Joke. That was it. It was a one-off issue.
Oh, it was even a one-off issue. Okay, yes.
Yeah, because it's actually not that long.
You look at Wolverine Old Man Logan, and even though it was named Wolverine, right, it had nothing to do with that series.
Exactly. It was just a one-off issue, double-sized issue or whatever, just to hit the stands. And it actually did come out originally just in hardcover. It wasn't even paperback. Interesting.
Okay, yeah. So the thing is that, you assume that the initial stages was, hey, let's not do this in continuity. But of course, DC looks at it and sees that, wow, this is really good, and wow, this can make some money. Let's at least have it somehow, connect. And that's probably why they let Moore do certain things, but not too much. Where, I'm sure if Moore brought up anything else, like wanted to go even farther, like to everyone who might be like, no, this was Alan Moore Unchained. No, it was not. DC's behind this. They definitely stopped him from doing things.
Yeah, I mean, they even said on the Wikipedia page, there was apparently Alan Moore was interviewed once, and he said around the planning of the book, he had actually contacted Len Wein, who I think was head of DC or somewhere in DC at the time, asking if it's okay to cripple Batgirl, because that was what he wanted to do. And they said, like, after a few phone calls, they said, yeah, sure, cripple her if you want, it's fine. And that was how the decision was made to cripple Batgirl.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying for other things, it's definite, like, I have a feeling that it's like, he's not the cripple Batgirl, but there were, during those phone calls, there were other questions.
Oh, definitely.
And we don't know about them, but I'm sure there were other questions. And he was told, no, don't do that. Don't. Like I wonder if he even had to convince them a lot about crippling, her.
I mean, from his interview, he didn't, but that's his interview, so we can't really.
Right. No. I mean, to be fair, like it's a shake-up enough that I think they would sit there and go, "Wow, this does shake up the universe," but not too much of a shake-up. Like I mean, it's not like they, he said, "Oh, can I cripple Wonder Woman?" She wouldn't be relevant in this Batman story, but still, the idea is, "Oh, can I cripple Wonder Woman?" It'd be like, no, right? Don't do that. Thank you. But anywho, so that's how it worked, right? So in the initial stages, Moore said, hey, I wanted this to be its own thing. But of course, DC being a company that I totally understand. Listen, I totally understand why they want to put this into continuity, right? Because of how good it was and how it did change these characters up, and how everyone who wanted to. Because I think it would have been a little weird if everyone read this, loved it so much, and then they jumped to the comics, and the comics are a bit more. I mean, they were still changing in general. This was definitely like a renaissance, I would argue, of comics, like of how like they were changing in certain ways and everything. But still, it would be weird if you went from Killing Joke to reading Batman, and it's like, wait, is this Adam West? Right? Like, the tone is really different, and I want to see Batman and Joker fight again. Because I don't think a lot of people got that it was the end. Because I had to be fair, I didn't realize that he killed him at first.
I didn't either when I first read it. I'm like, so did he kill him, or is he just kind of covering his mouth? What's going on?
Yeah, I was confused, because I was like, he grabbed him. Because to me, it looks like he's grabbing him like you. But no, it's, he's grabbing his throat, and his thumbs are pressed against his Adam's apple.
Yeah.
So essentially, he's crushing his windpipe. Oh, good stuff, kids. Good stuff. Read the stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But come on, read the comics. Do them. Crushes his windpipe.
That is to kind of to get off subject but stay on subject. That is what I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle it in the animated movie. I really want to see how they're going to end it. If they're going to just do it, if they're going to show it, if they're going to just kind of zoom in on the ground as it happens. I'm very curious to see that.
Well, we do have some time before we end everything. So, before we go into the animated film stuff, I want to ask, do you have anything you want to gush about that happened in the book that you're like, whoa? Right, that's your reaction. We're podcasters, everyone. We do this for a living. Whoa.
This is our job. We sit here and we say whoa about things.
Whoa, Keanu, whoa. So, so how do you feel? What in this book really stuck out to you? In a good way, like in a, wow, I really like this way.
I mean, obviously, there was the whole carnival, well, not the carnival, the Tunnel of Love kind of ride where Gordon went through it, and it was just Joker singing to him the entire time.
Right,
I just remember
the singing got you because...
Yeah. As soon as I finished that little sequence, I didn't even finish the story. I immediately went back to where it started, and then I read it again, because I really just wanted to take in every single word to get all of it. Other than that, it was probably just the way that the whole book was set up. Like, I loved how it starts in Arkham, and I love how when you get halfway into the story, when Batman arrives at the carnival, they start up with the dialogue that opened the book when Batman's like, hello, I came to talk. And as soon as the Batmobile pulls up to the carnival, the first word balloon is, hello, I came to talk. And it's basically the whole thing is set again, but in an entirely new perspective. And I love when books or anything really does that kind of thing. I love how the beginning is the end is the beginning, all that. And I just love the art overall. It's probably one of my favorite artists to draw the Joker ever.
I was going to say, I really, when you mentioned that scene, I think it's just the music and everything. It's strange, it's hypnotic, and while I don't like what he did, right, it's the music that makes you go, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you were not really expecting that. I think I just like the general backstory, because, well, it's not, of course you can say, well, the whole thing, the way it was set up, and I would argue, before I even mention the backstory that I enjoy, I want to mention, I feel like this hasn't been made into an animated feature, not only because of the subject matter, of course, right, but I really think it's because it was set up like one. Right? No, it was set up as if it was a film.
Yeah.
Which is why I mentioned before, you saying, oh, it felt like some things were missing. Yeah, as if, and I use the word director's cut for a reason, because it felt like it was set up like a film where there were some parts that could have added a bit more that weren't there because they probably told them, hey, you got to cut it down to this. So they're not giving you a 4-part miniseries. We're not giving you, we're not giving you this, we're not giving you this, we're giving you this amount of pages, 50 pages or less. That's what we're doing. Right? But anyway, so I like the flashbacks because, well, it's not definitive. I do enjoy him having a flashback that you can at least look to and go, yeah, that makes sense as to how he is who he is, right? Versus, let's say, something like Gotham. While I love the show Gotham, it gives him something that's definitive. And you could tell me, oh, well, Gotham's just one interpretation. But other than Ivy and Joker, it's doing a pretty good job, in my opinion, to sit there and make you go, you know what, yeah, I can see how this legitimately happened. Like how this legitimately, this is fucking real. How it happened in their universe. Right, I know, right? How this really happened, Matt. They're all fictional characters. You're podcasting about fictional characters. But yeah, like how this happened in their universe, right? I can see that with Gotham. Now, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with season 2. Like, we're not going to talk about that right now. But when it came to season 1, up until they introduced Joker, I was like, wow. And of course, Ivy too, which is a little weird. But minus those two, it's like, you know what? This makes sense. Yes, Bruce and Selina are seeing a bit too much of each other, but it makes sense. Right? Because you look at Joker, and he even says himself in this graphic novel, he says, oh, he talks about his past being multiple choice. Right? And I love that so much, because it still opens it up to, you interview the Joker, right? You interview him about his life, and he can give you 3 different stories, and he doesn't even know which one is real. Or, which is mostly other, series bringing this in, is it a complete fake-out? Is he just doing this to get inside your head? Which one is he? Is he crazy in a way where he doesn't understand what's real and what's fake? or is he trying to prove his point? And I think that's what's great about Moore, too, is the fact that you can sit there and say, oh, no, he's just, as if just is a thing, just crazy. Like, nothing he says is to be believed because he doesn't even know what he's saying. Or is it what he wants you to say? Because he's clearly out to prove a point. So that's how I feel.
Definitely.
Yes. But so talking about the animated film, right? Talking about the animated film. So there's a lot of controversy surrounding this film.
Yes.
Yes. So okay, the controversy you mentioned to me. The people out there that don't want the animated film to be done at all.
Not at all.
Because of the scenes that happened with Barbara Gordon and Joker.
Yeah, the main argument is that the story itself about Barbara being crippled by the Joker is degrading to women. That's everyone's main.
So now the question is it the fact that Barbara is being crippled, or the way, like, everything that happened surrounding it with the picture?
It's just the whole thing. It's all of it. The fact that she's crippled, the pictures, everything.
Okay. Because it's something where I actually have to agree with them. In a way. And I think you understand, too. The idea is that some people will say, right, that it is degrading to women. And I agree it is. But that's actually why it should be released. Now, people will take this soundbite, they'll flip it out, and they'll make me look like a terrible person. But when you hear the full thing, you'll understand why I'm saying this. Joker's a bad guy. Joker's not a good man. Joker's not a good person. There aren't redeeming qualities. Even if you say, oh, well, Joker's misunderstood because of his past, that's not an excuse, right? Like, you can excuse things that he said, but not things that he's done. Because the things that he's done are horrible, horrible things.
Yeah.
Right? So, I hate to relate this to a real person because, one actually did, real atrocities and the other one's a fake character. But, people will say all the time, oh, yeah, Hitler was a genius in the way that he could speak, right? He was a great public speaker, right? That in no way is trying to say, and that's why we should excuse him for genocide. No. Right? So the idea is you might say that Joker, speaks well, if you will, and he's trying to get, in your head, and you can say, oh, and Joker had such a sad past, but that does not in any way excuse what he's done. And frankly, you want to show what Joker's done so you can hate him.
Exactly.
You want to hate him. Now, if you're telling me Suicide Squad is an issue, I actually would agree with you as a movie. Because Suicide Squad, you're putting the focus on the main character. You're putting the focus on them as the main characters. Joker's not the main character in this. I know you might think that he is, and it might seem like he is because he is featured a lot in it. But it's a Batman story. Batman is the killing joke, right? So, and in the end, Batman does kill him. So it's not as if, I understand it's a huge deal. Some people might say, oh, we wanted Barbara to be able to kill him. Right, and I do get that. I understand that. But the idea is the bad guy did something bad and then was punished for it. I think it would be worse if he didn't cripple her at all because it's as if, the movie happened without that scene because it's washing it away. And in a way, it's romanticized. I don't say romanticizing because it's a thing where, I don't think it's like 50 Shades of Grey, is the point. I don't think it's like 50 Shades of Grey. I don't think it's like Twilight. Because those movies put this quote-unquote abusive character, I say quote-unquote because I do feel as if Christian Grey was abusive. Not so sure about Edward. He was pretty weird, though, to be fair. And he was not a good boyfriend. But anyway, so the two of them were put in a main character position. Where it said, hey, look at these two hunks of a man, right? Joker is not the main character. Well, he may be featured in this book and in this movie. It's Batman. The story is about Batman overall. Batman, you look at Batman and you go, that guy's the hero. Even though you look at the whole two halves of the same coin thing and you freak out a little bit, still, he is the quote-unquote, he's the best of the bad situation, right? He's the more righteous of the two.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's how you look at it. So why, so that's the thing. So I think if we remove that scene, that's what's really romanticizing and making it look like, see, like the Joker's not that bad of a guy. Like, no, we don't want anyone to like the Joker. We don't want people to grow up, kids, teens, adults. Yes, people might emulate him. I've cosplayed the Joker before. I really have. I've cosplayed the Joker before. It's happened, right? But the difference is that I don't emulate the bad stuff that he does. And to be fair, I do think it is a little bit, I don't know if I want to anymore, right? After really thinking about some of the stuff that he's done, it's kind of like, that guy is really fucked up. But at the same time, it's not as if I say I want to grow up to be the Joker. But if you remove bad aspects of him in films, so if Joker in Suicide Squad isn't mean to Harley, or is slightly mean but not really, then it's just like, and of course they show Harley loving him regardless of how mean that he is to her. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Right? That's really fucking bad. And then more, and now with this, with this animated film, if they don't show Joker doing what he's done, it's like, oh yeah, we should love the Joker. It's like, no. This, if you adapt this properly, you can hate him and then understand that if he gets killed for what he's done, because it's a one-off thing, and it's the last one with Hamill in it, so I think killing off the character would make sense. So that's how I feel, right? I think you agree. You've mentioned to me.
Definitely. I mean, taking out the scene is what would just destroy it. Like, you basically, I don't really know how much else I can add because you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. The Joker's a bad guy. He's done horrible things. This is a horrible thing he's done. If you take that away, you're cleaning up his reputation a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to show that bad people do bad things. Now, if someone says to me, "Oh, well, this, I am triggered by this. I was assaulted," that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to try and take that away from you. However, I will say that the comic book probably triggered you as well, and you didn't read the comic book. So if you didn't read the comic book, why do you think you should be able to watch the animated film? And I say should be as in, like, not as if it's like, look, you've been through a traumatic thing, and I don't want to say what you can and can't do. But what I'm saying is if you as a person said, oh, I can't read this comic book because of what happened to, because of what happened to me personally, and because of what some, sick, sadistic motherfucker, did to me, right?
Yeah.
Then why would you now want to see the animated version and then have that scene removed? And again, I don't think this tries to tell people, hey, you should, this shouldn't add to a culture of saying, hey, see, you should assault women because Joker did it. It's like, you mean the bad guy? Like, if people are going to associate themselves with Joker in a way that's past dressing up, meaning that in a way that shows that it's like, oh yeah, like I hurt people, I like hurting people in any way possible. I don't think they needed the Joker to emulate. Like, in other words, if you try to erase the Joker out of history overall, I don't think that person's going to go, I guess I can't kill people anymore. Like, no, they wanted to do that from the beginning. Like, they may have chosen him as an outlet, as a character to dress up as and then do it, or just generally just as someone to do it and in that mindset. And it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing. But I don't think that it's like as if the Joker is, the Joker should not be emulated. And if you're emulating him, you're emulating Joker. If you're emulating Hitler, you might be a bad person.
Just maybe.
Overall. Emulating, again, not as a plain dress-up. So Hitler is not something we're fucking getting into right now. But as Joker,
not at all.
It's not about playing dress-up. It's about the idea of actually going through with the actions because Joker did it. Well, and another thing too, by the way, if this is included in an animated film, kids aren't supposed to see it. So that's up to parents. That's up to outlets, like the retailers and things like that, to not sell it to children and to make sure to appropriately label it. I mean, it's the same thing with Grand Theft Auto. I do think that Grand Theft Auto is degrading to women, right? And I agree completely, 100% that it is. However, you are supposed to be playing it, if you are playing it, with the mindset of this is all make-believe. I shouldn't emulate this. I shouldn't be doing this to women, right? Women don't deserve to be treated this way. And more importantly, I'm not going to let impressionable youth play this game because it is not for them, because it is rated M for mature, Therefore, kids are not allowed to get their hands on this. And retailers don't sell it to kids, right? Adults buy it and then let their kids play it. Or older brothers or sisters or whoever, right, will give it to their younger siblings. Or, it's just some kind of trading system that does not involve the company that made it, nor does it involve the people selling it. It all, it involves the people buying and people that should be monitoring these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in other words, impressionable children should not be seeing this Killing Joke, animated film, so they should not be learning that this is how we treat women, right? It should be adults that know that this is a screwed up thing to do and that the Joker should be punished for his actions, and he always is. I mean, just because he breaks out doesn't mean that it's weird because people will say things like, the prison system sucks. It's not that they suck, it's just that these characters are larger than life. So, not in a good way, but they are larger than life, so they're able to just break out of these legit maximum security prisons.
Exactly.
Right? I know the beginning makes it look like as if Arkham was a joke. Which, to be fair, it's not the best security, but he literally just switched places with a guy. Not sure how. He never really got into that, which I think maybe that's something you wanted to get into more.
Probably.
Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, it's like I kind of want to, but I kind of don't want to because I feel like it's not going to be the best explanation in the world.
Probably not. But anyway, so, we're kind of wrapping things up-ish. But yeah, so you said you feel the same way. But, of course, we both want to, say that, again, we don't agree with what Joker's, done. And that's why we want it to be released this way. Because we don't agree with what Joker's done. And we want others to kind of have that same thought, rather than just making the Joker out to be a better guy, and also taking away Batman's motivation to do anything. Because if you think about it, what would Joker do instead of that? Like what? Like Joker just kidnaps the dad? The dad being fucking Gordon. Like, what did he do? He kidnapped Gordon and then he shows him, the horrors of the world, like children dying elsewhere in the world and, and people starving. That means something. But I think, you want it to hit close to home. Like, even though we say, Moore always includes something like this in his stories. In this story, it doesn't feel forced.
Not at all.
Yeah. Now, again, not that, I'm saying that it's a problem that he includes it because, hey, there should be awareness on things like this that still happen. It's not as if we've gotten rid of, assault. We haven't gotten rid of racism. These things still are rampant, in our society. Sometimes people will say, the media likes to spin things out of control. Yes, that's true, but these things still do exist. Sadly, we're not living in our utopia yet. I wish we were. We're in 2015. We should have fucking flying cars, and we should be in a better place in the world, in society, But we're not, right? But when it comes to this film, specifically, when it comes to this actual movie, you want him to do bad things because he's bad. It's that simple. If you don't want to see it in there because it's degrading, again, that's the point. That's why you want to see it. If this was a movie about Superman doing this to Lois Lane, you can bet your ass I would not want to see that. Superman doing this, Batman doing this, Wonder Woman doing this. Doesn't matter what gender. If anyone's doing something like this to someone else, it's assault. It is. Even though you might say, maybe it was just pictures. COVID was removed. This is assault, right? This is not good behavior. This is a bad thing, right? So, that's how I feel about it, and I know you agree. So I can't really. It sucks because I want to hear your opinion, but your opinion's my opinion. So I feel
that's the problem. Yeah, it's like we basically were in sync with this. So we both, if one of us says something, the other doesn't have anything to add.
Yeah. But talking about the film in a lighter light, I guess, before we head off. The last film with Mark Hamill in it, anything with Mark Hamill in it, he said he didn't want to really come back for anything unless it was, a Killing Joke, animated film. And he's
That's getting harder and harder to believe, though. Because
what?
he said that after Arkham City, and he came back for Arkham Knight. So it's getting a bit hard to believe that.
To be fair, though, isn't Arkham Knight the last Arkham game, or am I wrong?
It's going to be the last Arkham game from Rocksteady Studios. Warner Brother Games,
fair,
one of the parts.
I mean, think of it like this, right? When it comes to, I mean, I don't know how it works with studios, right? But I know that when it comes to, let's say, like different directors with movies and things like that, if a director's going to stop doing a series, let's say, like, you think of Sam Raimi, right? Who, when he was like, I don't want to do any more Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire said, no, thank you. Then because Tobey wasn't on it, Kirsten Dunst, who I'm sure, loves Tobey Maguire, loves working with him, is like, all right, no, thank you. And then Sony goes, reboot time?
Fair enough.
So what I mean is this. I mean, having him leave, like having Rockstar leave and not do it anymore, means that there's a chance that, Hamill, who loved working with Rockstar, Rocksteady. No, crap. Rocksteady. Blah. Yeah. My head's exploding. Sorry. Rocksteady. Because of, that, he might say, I'll do the last one. Right? Because to be fair, I mean, you look at, let's say, Robin Williams with the way everything worked with Aladdin, right? The first Aladdin, he didn't, he did it. Second Aladdin, he didn't do it. Third Aladdin, the final one, he did it. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Like, there's a chance that he might not do it anymore. Now, if he comes on to do the next game, regardless of who's on it, I get you.
Yeah.
He thought he could not do anymore, but he got that Joker itch. And again, it's not a problem, because, I mean, like, who am I to say, I don't want Mark Hamill as the Joker anymore. Like, no, do it till it, till whatever. Like, I love him as a Joker. I'm fine with it. While I'd love to have a job one day as a Joker voiceover, voice actor, doesn't mean that it's, it doesn't mean that, that I'm going to say, and he should leave because of it. So that's where we are. And before we run off, I want to say, so what scene do you want the most in the animated film? And I know some people might say, you both want that scene with the pictures. No. Like, we want it to be included because, we only brought that up because everyone else said, not everyone, but there are people who said, we don't want it included. And that's our take. But we are sitting here like, yes, put that in, yes. No. Right? So what scene do you want in there the most? Because personally, I think I might want to see his transformation, quote unquote. Like, I might want to see him fall into the vat, fall into the, come out of the water, and then see him laughing. I think that's what I want the most.
I'm honestly torn between that scene and the scene that I had mentioned earlier, the carnival ride.
I assumed as much, because to be fair, I would like to see
really
how
just want to see how well that's adapted.
Yeah, I want to see how that translates to film, because I've made my own little tunes. And I never heard Moore say, here's the song I was thinking of when I wrote it. So I sort of my own little tune in how to sing it, and I think I've done that with you, not on the show, but I've just done that to you personally. We've just been maybe I've done it on one of our shows. I'm unsure, but what matters is I don't I think that scene would be interesting to see translate, but personally I'm shooting for the whole laughing scene. But really do want to see how they transition from past to present. I hope they keep that same art style.
I was going to say that as well, and the main reason I want to see that is I'm curious for what Mark Hamill's going to come up with as a pre-Joker voice.
Yes. Because I feel like what you do is you can still keep him with that. Like, I think he'll just have his normal Hamill, his normal voice. Like in other words, if you notice back in the day, as Joker, he had a fluctuating voice, where he didn't really have this quote-unquote Joker voice like he does now with the older kind of Joker, right? So there's a chance that when he's going to be Joker, this Joker, he's going to have the rasp in his voice, right? And that money's just normal. Grant money's normal. It's just, it's just kind of normal fluctuating thing that he does. Like basically it's going to go from, like, animated series Joker in the past, right, where he's not Joker, to Arkham Joker.
Yes.
I think that's the transition, because the idea is, if it screwed up with his hair, it screwed up, his face, like his skin tone, it could have easily screwed up his vocal cords.
Probably.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just so interested to hear that. Because it's a whole different movie. But when someone, I remember the first time I thought of it, like, well, what's his voice going to be? My first thing that I thought of is completely out of nowhere as it is. You've seen Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, right?
Yes.
There was that one scene at the very end when Tim Drake reveals that he's been the Joker, where when he transforms to the Joker, he's just like, and if I'm ever late to dinner, I just pick up the phone. Hello, honey. I'm going to be late tonight. I love you. And they'll be none the wiser. I'm really hoping for something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm really hoping to see.
So that's good.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this movie and also this comic for a bit now, and we're gonna end the show. So we would like to, before we do though, before I say the whole thing, we're gonna get those guys and all that stuff. I want to say, so Anthony.
Yes.
You do a lot of things, don't you?
I am indeed a jack of all trades.
Right. So you not only do reviews, YouTube reviews and other reviews, like written stuff, on different figures that come out, like, comic book stuff and everything. You also make, quote unquote, repaint, Kit Bash figures. Now, explain all the words that I just said, because I don't even know what they mean.
To put it in layman's terms, a repaint is basically a repaint. If you want a figure of, since we're doing the Killing Joke, you want a Joker figure, but rather than the green and purple traditional tux, you want it in the black and white. I'll take the figure that you want in particular, repaint it black and white. Kit Bash is a bit more in-depth. Basically, if you want a specific incarnation of the Joker, and there are multiple figures with multiple parts, I will get the figures, disassemble them all, take the right parts that are needed, mod them to fit the base body, and put it all back together, and repaint it if necessary. That's a Kit Bash. And if you're interested to see some of my work, you can check out my Instagram Geek4Life blog. That's Geek4Life blog. You can look up some of my previous works. You can also DM me with any inquiries, any commissions, and we'll work out a price.
So what you're saying is, let's say, here's another good example. We're bringing up Arkham before. Let's say I wanted the Incredible Hulk to look like Joker when he transformed via the Venom in the Gotham. So you would be able to just repaint over that completely, and with your artistic ability, make it look like that version of the Joker. And if anything was needed, any other kind of like accessories, that you would work out a price. Well, even for the figure itself, you would work out a price, but you would also negotiate even further because of the idea that you can give him any other crates and things like that, anything needed to add to the scene.
Exactly. Accessories, possibly even if you want a diorama.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So, and you already mentioned, the links for that and stuff. And yeah, he does a really good job. I mean, I've seen some of his work. I'm definitely going to commission him to do some things. And once I get some actual money. I get a lot of money all the time. I'm filthy rich.
Sleeping in it.
Yeah. What?
What?
I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
I said sleeping in it.
Yeah, of course. Yep, Scrooge McDuck in it. Yep.
Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, so anyway, we would like to thank you guys for listening to those guys. And, as always, thank you for being on, Anthony. Thank you all for listening in. We've done a lot of shows, both Anthony and I, and just in general as those guys. And you can get all these shows on our website, which is thoseguysonthe.tumblr.com, our Facebook, which is /thoseguysonthe.radio, our Twitter @thoseguysradio, our Instagram /thoseguysonthe.radio, and our YouTube page where you can just search up Those Guys on the Radio, Those Guys Radio, or TGOTR, and our YouTube page that we're constantly updating will have all of those episodes, as we're updating. And also you can check us out on iTunes, which is Those Guys Radio, Those Guys on the Radio, or Those Guys Radio. You'll see our You'll see our picture come up, and you'll say, oh, look at that. That's their entire archive, right? So we've done a lot of different shows, as I mentioned. We've done WWE shows, WWE Wednesday Night Raw, WWE pay-per-views. Anthony and I have done a lot of stuff. We've done comic book shows. We've done, The Killing Joke, of course, as we're on right now. We've done Gotham, Arrow, Flash, Following, The Walking Dead. We've also, actually, it's all you and I have done. But that's still a lot of crap, though, to be fair.
Definitely.
Also, some other hosts, we've done Dragon Ball Z movies, Dragon Ball Z OVAs, Dragon Ball movies, Dragon Ball OVAs, Bleach movies, Bleach OVAs. We've also done Pokemon video games, as well as Black Dynamite, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, Mike Tyson Mysteries, as well as many more shows that I can't even think of right now. But that's still a lot of shows. And again, if you go to our website that I mentioned before, you'll get to hear all of them. Also, email us, thoseguysontheradio@gmail.com for any promotional opportunities. We can promote you on our show. And, just email us and we'll work something out. So, I think that's it. I think we're here.
I think we covered all bases.
Yes. So, thank you, everyone, for listening to Those Guys. Say good night, Anthony.
Have a good night, everybody.